So one thing I do want to talk to you about, obviously we're going to get into some stuff for our youth as we talk
Right.
about your pro and college career, which is huge coming from Gainesville. A lot of people don't see that. But what I do want to start off talking with you about, just jump right into it, man, is obviously you see everything happening. You kind of touched on not agreeing with how the pandemic's been handled a little bit here in the U.S. You say in Spain's been a little bit more strict, but things have been getting a little bit better. Obviously, you see some of the riots and stuff going on here, and it's very sad, man. It's very hard. Obviously, you're part of the Black community. You're African American descent, and what do you have to say about some of the stuff going on? Obviously, we don't want to get too deep into it, but we do want to. I wrote a blog about it yesterday about why Black Lives Matter, and I feel like it would be an injustice to have you on here without talking about it. You know what I mean? So tell me what you think.
The biggest thing for me, the biggest disappointment is, man, right before the looting and all the rioting started, the sole focus was on police brutality, the death of an innocent man, and now that the media, I blame the mass media, all they post is looting. All they post is the violent protesting. So now they're taking the focus off of the main point, and the main point is we want justice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're taking the main focus off of what it has to be, and that's the most frustrating things. Like, I see people on Twitter and Instagram always trying to say, like, all lives matter. Yeah, but so we're not saying all lives don't matter, but it's been a point made that our life don't matter to people of authority. And I'm not saying all people of authority, but it's getting to the point where this has been going on for way too long. And we have social media now. We have more cameras now. The same thing was going on years ago, but we just didn't have any way to see it. So now we see it, and it's like, it's scary. But the biggest thing we can do to change is, I'm not going to be mad at anyone for protesting. I'm not going to be mad at anyone for rioting. People have their different reasons. Me personally, I'm not going to go out in the street and loot and burn down a building in Florida when everything's happening in Minnesota. But I don't know everyone's personal reason. I don't know everyone's personal motive. Someone could have lost a brother. If I would have lost a family member to police brutality, I would be out there too. People are thinking and acting off emotion because they're tired, and it's time for change. Don't make excuses of Black people kill more Black people in gang violence, or statistically it shows that white people get killed more by police. And it's just like, why are y'all trying to compete? I'm not trying to compete with anyone. I want to just get the point across that, this is a messed up situation. We need to bring awareness to it. It needs to be justice, and further cops down the line, if there's justice, maybe they won't do it. And then we can start approaching how we can, come together as a community and move forward from this instead of moving back. But we need recognition first. Like, recognize that there's an injustice. Recognize that there's mistakes that's going on. Don't sit up here and point the finger at, oh, this, and this. It's like cause and effect. You kill my brother, what I'm going to do? Sit at home and say, okay, I need to call somebody. Let's call the police. There needs to be change.
Right.
We've been doing that for years. Kaepernick sat down on his knee, and everyone took the wrong message. He was not disrespecting the United States of America. He sat down so everyone can watch him, and so he can voice his opinion about police brutality. And everyone's saying that he's disrespecting. That's not the point. Everyone's missing the point, because everyone is selfish when it comes to that. It's like they don't want to, like, they see it, but they never experienced it. So I can't.
It's hard for them to understand. And that's why it's important that, like I said, I feel like it'd be an injustice to have you on and not talk about it, even if it's just briefly, because, it's important that things like Kaepernick kneeling, people were like, oh, you're kneeling, that heals America, that you fixed racism. Or yesterday, we had the Blackout Tuesday. Everybody wants to be a smart aleck in the comments. Oh, you posted a Black picture, you fixed racism. That's not what it's about. You don't fix racism in one day. You don't fix problems in one day. It starts conversations, though, right? I had a friend of mine, I posted the blackout picture, and a friend of mine I'm very close with texted me and was like, hey, what is this about? Like, what are they doing? And I'm like, honestly, bro, what it's about is getting you to ask me, what is this about? Because when you ask me, I start telling you, hey, we all need to show solidarity, because what happens is, this is actually the first time ever we've said Black Lives Matter, and everyone in unison has not shouted all lives matter. We're actually getting, there's still a lot of people like that, but we're actually getting some politicians and some celebrities and people of not of color to be on our side, because, you know, that people are starting to realize, yo, this is the breaking point. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. We had a silent protest and peaceful protest with Kaepernick and whoever else, and they get lambasted for it, and they get, you know, blackballed from the NFL or wherever else. And you know, what it comes down to is that analogy I've been hearing over and over again. And if you've been watching social media or watching the news, one really just encapsulates it. If you see a house burning, right, in the neighborhood, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to put this fire out on this house. Your neighbor is going to be like, oh, well, what about my house? My house matters too. Nah, this house is the one that's on fire. This one is the one that matters. Like, we're not saying your house doesn't matter. If your house is on fire, I'd be putting it out too. But this one's the one that's currently on fire.
Man, in the beginning, I was so outraged, and I never tweet a lot. I never really go into like comment and be rude to people, but I just started getting in a lot of arguments on Twitter and Instagram, and the points that these people would make, I'm sitting here like, yo, if this happened to you, and the best clip that I have is this lady was speaking, and she said, anybody in the room, if you would trade your life to be a black person, or would you want to be a black person? And this, not one person raised their hand. That shows you the problem right there. So y'all saying that all lives matter, everyone's equal, we're killing ourselves, we're doing this, and this is all our fault. But nobody wants to be us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to be Michael Jordan, but nobody wants to be a normal black pedestrian walking down the street.
Not even, bro. Chris Rock made a joke a couple years back. He was like, Chris Rock, I believe it was Chris Rock. He made a joke. He was like, I'm a black comedian, and no white person would ever switch lives with me, and I'm rich. You know, because it's like it's an injustice that happens to them, and you see celebrities and whoever else, they have stories too. What happened to them? You know, it's not perfect.
I gotta say something for my peers around my age group. You know, I'm very proud of the athletes, my Spanish teammates, the Spanish community, European, every country, like people that I did not expect to speak up, they're speaking up. And then I have so-called friends and so-called people that, you know, I've been with around my whole entire life, and they seen this injustice. Like for me growing up, like I was so focused on basketball that like nobody was gonna take my focus away from that. I was just really driven and motivated. So maybe I wasn't exposed to is you know, other things that kids who don't have sports to fall back on as young, black, living, you know, in America have to go through. I was always in the gym.
Right.
So, you know, like, everyone is not going to be like that.
Mm.
Everyone doesn't have a two-parent home. We live in poverty. Most black people live in poverty. Most black people don't have two-parent homes. Like, I got lucky, but I understand how fortunate I am. And it's my homies who made a life for themselves, who've come from straight poverty where their backs against the walls, and they made a life for themselves and they're surviving. You know what I'm saying? Not in jail, have a good job, you know what I'm saying, doing the best that they can. Like, that's a salute. People don't understand how difficult it is to be African American and be respected and come from somewhere like Gainesville and then be respected around the rest of the world. Europeans here, my Spanish teammates, some of them, they have no idea about racism. Like, people start asking me on DMs on Instagram, like, hey, when did all this start happening? Is it because of the coronavirus? And I'm like, man, I can't get mad at them because I'm like, they have no idea. I don't know Spanish and European history.
Right.
So, you know, I'm just trying to, I don't know, man. It's a messed up situation, but all we can do is just try to be positive. It's too much finger pointing, it's too much blaming. But we need to get the message out so people can see. So I don't know. I appreciate everybody who's using their voice.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing here, bro. We're using our voice. I mean, like I said, you're a pro player. I'm a trainer. I'm trying to help. If there's any youth kids watching this, and even if they're not watching right now, they'll see it on YouTube. They'll see it on Instagram when we post it. And what's important is that they hear a voice. They hear somebody. But like you said, not everybody has a single parent home. Part of what we do here for Athletics is give guidance and mentorship and give them something to do. Because I mean, a lot of them don't, man. I have a lot of athletes I've coached that have been arrested just because they're a group of black kids messing around in a parking lot. You know what I mean? And they're underage, but they still, you know what I mean? So it's ridiculous. I don't want to get too much deeper into it, man, because we got some other stuff to talk to. But we can go on for hours, bro.
I have one more thing to say on that, and you made a good point. you try to teach guidance. But if a kid doesn't have like a vision and dream, one of the reasons that I would wake up at 5 in the morning in high school and go to the gym and then go to school and then go back to the gym is because I literally dreamed every single night of playing basketball at a higher level. Like that's all I wanted. I dreamed of winning the state championship. Like I prayed for that because of somebody that I watch. Everyone knows Dante Anderson who's watching this. I saw him win it. I didn't know nothing about no state championship when I was 14 years old, but I saw him do it and I wanted to do it. And I just put my mind to it. But like, if you got people who don't have, if kids don't have dreams, if kids don't have a vision, they're just living. They're just out here. You got to have some kind of internal motivation to keep you going, to keep you productive every day, to keep your mind sane because life is difficult if you don't have any direction. And my guidance came from my parents, my grandparents. I had a hell of a support system. A lot of kids don't. A lot of kids don't have that. I want to get better. I want to be the best that I can be. Knowledge is power. You can have knowledge in sports. You can have knowledge in anything in this world, in any aspect you put your mind to. Gain that knowledge and just do it consistently and do it every day. And the thing is, it's not about if you have the internal motivation to work. If you're doing something you love and you're doing something you truly want to do, you're gonna do it any day regardless. Like it wasn't. I hated when basketball practice ended. I thought practice should be 5 hours, not 2 hours. So it was like that. But I mean, for the younger generation who's coming up and doesn't have that motivation, I mean, find something that you love to do. Find something that makes you smile, makes you intrigued, and just keep going with it.
It doesn't have to be basketball, guys. I mean,
Uh,
everybody loves basketball, but you know, for me, what I found was, and in my day and age, right now, in the current times, right? If I told somebody I'm a basketball, I was getting a degree to be a basketball trainer. I went to the University of Florida to get to be a basketball trainer. A lot of people would be like, shouldn't you go get a degree to be a lawyer or a doctor? Like,
yeah,
you really need a degree. Well, what I found was I found my passion. I found something that I love to do. I found something that makes me happy, and you just have to go for it. So kid, you know, it's hard because we're kids. You're not thinking about it. You're kind of going day to day. Mom takes care of stuff. But at some point, you know, you have to figure out what you love to find a passion for something. Because otherwise,
yeah.
we're just kind of be strolling in life. And if you're strolling in life, you're not achieving
You're
anything.
not doing. Yeah, think about it like this: like if you're doing something that you're supposed to do or other people want you to do, or you're doing it because it's your job, or you're playing a sport because you just want to play for fun, you're already at a disadvantage against somebody who's doing it because they love it and they have a deep passion because their mindset, they're going to work 10 times harder than you already. If they're doing something they're passionate about, they're going home thinking about it. They're going home studying about it, whether it's in the books or sports or whatever it may be. They're putting in extra hours about it. You're going home thinking about something else. And that just comes of doing something that you're truly passionate about. I played every single sport before I got really good at basketball. And all my friends was playing soccer and football. And I just was doing it just to do it. But when I started playing basketball, it was something I really had a passion for, and I would stay out there for hours just doing it because it was fun for me. And it kept me out of trouble. It kept me focused. And you have to have good grades to play. So obviously I was doing well in my school. And then
Another one.
you look and it's like, oh wow, you can actually go to college for free.
When you have a passion for something, it kind of just goes into
It
everything else.
makes everything else better. It
Right.
makes everything else better. I'm gonna
When
give you
you
one
love,
last example, man.
yeah,
One last example, because it's like a branch, and like your passion is the branch, and you want it to grow and be as strong as possible. So, for example, my passion is trying to be the best professional I can be. Now, your diet, things you put in your body, your sleep schedule, your discipline, your routine, things that you study, things that you put in your mind, the mental aspect, taking care of your body, icing. It's so much stuff that goes into a daily routine to in any profession. That could be a teacher, it could be a doctor, it could be the mailman, any profession. So much goes into it that if you don't have that passion, you're gonna half-ass. You're gonna half do it. You're gonna half do it, and then you're not. The standards getting lower and lower. So when
right.
you have that passion, you gotta go. Everything in this life is accessible. It doesn't matter who you are. Anything is accessible if you have the mind, the knowledge, and you have the work ethic. Anything is accessible. I've seen a lot of people become very successful just because of their mindset.
I feel you, bro. Yeah, that's definitely important, man. And so, I mean, this is easy to talk about, stuff like this now because you made it, right? Especially from Gainesville. I mean, of course, there's still more for you to do in your mind, but it's for other people. Other people want to be in your shoes. Other people want to have been at a D1 school and play pro and all this stuff. Like, what about your hardships? Like, what about, like, there are times where people may be working hard for 2 weeks or 3 weeks like you, and then they hit a wall because they have a bad game against somebody and they just get down on themselves, or they get an injury, or like, that people deal with hardships. Obviously, you've had to deal with yours. It's very easy for us to discuss just all the positives out of it, but what happens when negatives hit you, whether it's something in your personal life that affects your work life, like let's say something at home affects you being able to come to school or go to practices. How do you make it through, and how do you, not just from your experiences, from other pro players you played with in San Antonio and everywhere, how do you tell them to get through hardships when there are others who have an easier road?
Man, that's a conversation I have with some of my best friends who are professionals. It's like you can work as hard as you can. Sometimes you can do everything right, and then sometimes you're just dealt a bad hand and you're dealt in a situation where it's very hard for you to progress in it. So, but you have to look at the big picture. And the thing is self-assurance. You have to be okay with yourself. So right now in my situation, I'm coming back for an injury, and I cut a nerve
What's
this
the
summer.
injury?
I cut a nerve this summer, and I lost feeling in part of my hand and my finger. And y'all know I'm a shooter, so being able to catch and shoot, is huge for me. But I've been working so hard through this time and doing different things that whatever happens next season, I can live with any result because I controlled what I can control. I think a lot of people look at, okay, what's this person doing? What's this person doing? How is this person having it so easy? How is this person? If you focus on what you have to do and control what you can control and continue to get better, then your time will come. It may not be when you want it, but God's time is coming. I've told myself probably for 3 years before, like, this is my year, this is my season, this is this, and then I get hurt, something happens, coaching disagreement. It's so much stuff that mentally is draining, and you get so tired. But that's what makes an average person, an average player, great. Because in anything in life, you can tell me in the regular working world, you've been told no, you've been dealt a short hand, but did you stop? No, you manifest that adversity, and while you're working, you use it to get stronger, use it to get wiser. Start looking at why you're being told no. Start looking at why you're not in the position you want to be. A lot of times as human nature, we think that we have everything figured out. I've been playing basketball for years, and every single year I'm like, okay, I changed this in my workouts, I changed this in my diet, I changed this in my weights, I got this shit figured out. And every year I learn something more that I can help in my life, for my body, for my health, and not only me, but to help my family, to help younger people, everything. It's always a building block. So if people take the letdowns, the disagreements, the hard work going unnoticed, and they just use it and keep going and going and going, it's a slow grind. Some people, the 10%, are blessed that they can just go to a big time university and end up their first couple years out making millions of dollars playing basketball. They worked hard for it. They got the talent. Everyone is not like that. Some people are different. Everybody's road is different. That's what's so dope about life, because once you're in this basketball field, in this European basketball field, it's like it's free game. Everyone's trying to get to the top. Everyone's trying to get to EuroLeague. Like, what bumps, what roads are you going to take? And it's a challenge. And for me personally, that challenge fuels me. Like, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm almost angry. I want more. I want to grind harder. And it's like, it's dope to feel that way at 28.
Bro, I appreciate the time, bro. Honestly, that just encapsulates everything that we need to teach young athletes, that they just got to stay active. They got to stay dedicated. Even if you don't got money, even if you're stuck somewhere, even if these all can be like examples of bigger picture stuff. You could be like, someone who's unfortunate, or because I mean, the one you've been working for months, and the 1 week, the 4 days you decide to take a vacation, you get a call. Yeah. There's so many excuses and so many examples that we could make that this kind of can relate to someone. You just have to want to see it. And so anyone watching this, I hope that you guys can learn a lot from Greg. We'll get him on again sometime in the future, man. Thank you so much for coming on, bro.
I want to say one more thing. One more thing to the youth watching this. You're never too young to make a difference. You're never too young to share knowledge, and you're never too young to be part of change. Our generation, the generations before us, and everybody, we haven't been doing it right, because we're still dealing with injustice. We haven't been doing it right. They still don't respect our voices. Change your ways now as a youngin. Change your ways now. Become more educated. Become more knowledgeable. Take this more serious because this is your future as well. You know, I'm lucky that I'm over here in Europe, but my family is over in America.
Mm.
So take this very seriously. Use this time to educate yourself. Don't approach it with anger. Educate yourself and try to be a part of the change. Do better. Do better individually so collectively we'll look better as a unit. And they can't say anything to us. We're
Absolutely.
better. We come together and we'll rise. We're special. We're all kings and queens. And God bless all of y'all. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you having me.
Of course, man. And thank you so much for those inspirational words, bro. It's a lot going on. We can't just talk about basketball. We got to talk
Definitely.
about stuff with it, man. But I appreciate you, bro. You're inspirational, man. Like I said, Gainesville legend here. You hate when I call you that, but for real, you were looking up to people in Gainesville, man. So I like that you try to give people to look up to in Gainesville too. So anything you ever need, bro, let me know. We'll have them on
I
again. Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for coming on for a live talk, bro.
Yes, sir. I'll see you when I get back.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
my boy. Yes, sir. See you.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in for the live talk. You guys need anything else, check out the website, foralathletics.com. Happy to have you guys on. Thank you guys so much.